I welcome you to my channel. Subscribe and listen to my new stories every day. The morning light filters through the blinds, casting thin stripes of gold across our bedroom. I stretch out in bed, feeling the comforting weight of Margarita nestled beside me. It's a typical Saturday, and the house is quiet. The hum of the air conditioner is the only sound, a steady backdrop to the otherwise serene start of the day. I get up, rubbing sleep from my eyes, and head to the bathroom to start my day. As I step into the bathroom, something catches my eye, a single strand of bright black hair on the edge of the sink. I brush it aside with a shrug. It's not unusual for stray hairs to end up in odd places, especially with the kind of hairpins Margarita has a habit of leaving around. But this strand feels out of place. Margarita's hair is light brown, not black. I dismiss it and continue with my morning routine. But the hair reappears in my thoughts as I move through the house, preparing breakfast. It gnaws at me, a small, unsettling detail that refuses to be ignored. The day progresses, and I find myself in the kitchen, fixing lunch. There it is again, a bright black strand of hair on the counter. I frown. It's the same hair I saw earlier, and now it's in the kitchen. My wife, Julia, doesn't have black hair. Her hair is a warm chestnut color, always meticulously styled. This hair doesn't belong to her. I look around the kitchen, searching for more signs. The hair's appearance feels increasingly suspicious. But I shake off the paranoia, telling myself it must be a coincidence. Later that day, Margarita and I head to the balcony to enjoy the crisp afternoon air. I lean against the railing, feeling the breeze on my face. As I glance down, I spot another black hair on the floor. My heart skips a beat. This is the third time today. I can't ignore it any longer. My curiosity gets the better of me, and I decide to investigate. I try to remember if Julia has had any visitors recently. She's been unusually distant lately, often working late or making excuses to go out. I assume it's just work stress or a new hobby. That evening, as we drive to dinner, I spot yet another black hair in the car. This is getting ridiculous. The hairs are popping up everywhere, and they're always in places Julia and I spend time together. The final straw is when I find one in our bedroom closet. It's clear now, there's a pattern, and it's not just random chance. After dinner, I confront Julia. We're sitting across from each other at the dining table, the remnants of our meal still scattered before us. I hold up the hair, a grim look on my face. "Julia, what's this?" I ask, my voice cold. She freezes, her fork halfway to her mouth. Her eyes widen, and she struggles to maintain her composure. "What do you mean?" "This black hair," I say, my tone more insistent. "I found it all over the house. It doesn't match yours. What's going on?" Julia's face pales. She looks away, biting her lip. I don't know. Maybe someone came over and..." "Someone?" I interrupt. "Who? And why would they leave their hair everywhere?" Julia's silence is answer enough. She shifts uncomfortably in her seat. "Okay, you got me. I've been seeing someone else. I'm sorry." The words hit me like a punch to the gut. Betrayal burns in my chest. I stand up abruptly, pushing my chair back. "Who is he?" I demand. Julia's eyes well up with tears. "His name is Daniel. He's from work. I didn't mean for it to happen." I pace the room, anger bubbling up inside me. "Did you think I wouldn't notice? All these places, did you think I wouldn't put it together?" Julia's voice trembles. "I never meant to hurt you. I just needed something more." I storm out of the room, slamming the door behind me. The betrayal is too fresh, too raw. I need a plan. I need to make things right. I can't let this go unanswered. I sit in the darkened living room, staring at the empty space where my family's picture used to be. It's time for revenge. I'll make sure Julia knows the full extent of the damage she's caused. This isn't just about her. It's about me reclaiming my life. I'll ruin her carefully curated image. I'll expose her lies and deceit. She'll regret ever crossing me. But for now, I need to gather evidence. I need to find out where they've been, what they've done. The strands of hair are just the beginning. I'll track every detail, every place. Julia and Daniel's affair will be laid bare, and I'll make sure it's impossible for them to ignore. The house is quiet, but the storm inside me is far from calm. The game has just begun, and I'm ready to play. The days following the confrontation are tense. Julia's attempts to apologize are met with cold silence from me. The trust that once anchored our relationship is now nothing but a shattered memory. I've resolved to uncover the full extent of her betrayal, and nothing is going to stop me. Saturday morning arrives, and the air in the house feels heavy, almost suffocating. Julia is out, claiming she has work to finish. I know she's lying, she's meeting Daniel. I just need to find proof. I decide to search the house thoroughly, hoping to find something that confirms my suspicions. As soon as Julia leaves, I start my search. I check the closet, pulling out clothes and rifling through her personal belongings. I open drawers and sift through papers, but there's nothing that stands out. Frustration builds as I move through the house, each room feeling like a potential hiding spot for evidence. Finally, I head to the garage. Julia's car is parked outside, and I decide to inspect it. I open the door and start searching the interior, pulling out the seat covers and checking under the mats. Then I spot something, a small, crumpled receipt wedged between the seat and the center console. It's from a local hotel, dated just a few days ago. My pulse quickens as I read the details. The receipt lists a room number and a checkout time that coincides with one of Julia's unexplained absences. It's not concrete proof, but it's enough to give me a lead. I need more information. I decide to follow Julia discreetly. After checking the hotel's address on the receipt, I make a plan to visit it later in the day. For now, I need to keep my distance and avoid arousing any suspicion. The afternoon drags on. I spend the time researching the hotel, finding out everything I can about it. It's a small, upscale place with a reputation for discretion. Perfect for an affair. I prepare to head out, making sure to keep my phone charged and my camera ready. As the sun begins to set, I make my way to the hotel. I park a few blocks away and walk the rest of the way, blending in with the evening crowd. The hotel's lobby is plush and serene, with muted lighting and elegant furnishings. I approach the front desk with a casual demeanor, as if I'm just another guest. "Good evening," I say to the receptionist, who looks up from her computer screen. "I'd like to inquire about a recent guest." The receptionist raises an eyebrow. "We don't usually give out guest information." "I understand," I say smoothly. "I'm just trying to find out if someone I know stayed here recently. I have a receipt with a room number." I hand her the receipt, and she glances at it. After a moment, she types something into her computer. "Let me check the records." I wait, my heart pounding. The minutes feel like hours. Finally, the receptionist looks up, her expression neutral. "I can't give you specific details, but I can confirm that the room was occupied recently." "Thank you," I say, taking back the receipt. I leave the lobby, feeling a mix of satisfaction and trepidation. I return home and try to piece together what I've learned. The receipt is a small piece of the puzzle, but it's a start. I need to catch Julia and Daniel in the act to fully expose the affair. The next morning, Julia is once again headed out for work, or so she says. This time, I follow her. I keep a safe distance, making sure not to be seen. Julia drives to a different part of town, eventually arriving at a cozy cafe with a small outdoor seating area. She parks and walks in, and I find a spot nearby where I can observe. I wait, sipping coffee and watching the entrance. After about 20 minutes, Daniel shows up. He's a tall man with a well-groomed beard, and he spots Julia immediately. They greet each other with a hug, too intimate to be just friends. I snap photos with my phone, documenting their interaction. They sit at a table, leaning in close and laughing. Julia reaches across the table, touching Daniel's hand. My anger flares as I watch the scene unfold. They chat and dine together, completely absorbed in each other. I continue to photograph their interaction, capturing moments of affection and familiarity. This is the evidence I need, the proof of their betrayal. As the sun begins to set, Julia and Daniel finally part ways. Julia heads back to her car, and I follow at a distance, ensuring she doesn't notice me. She returns home and goes inside. I decide to confront her once more, but this time with undeniable evidence. I arrive home and prepare to reveal what I've found. The photographs are clear, showing Julia and Daniel together in a way that leaves no room for doubt. I'm ready to show her that her betrayal is now in the open. The game of retribution has begun, and I'm determined to see it through. The evening air is cool as I walk up to our house. Julia's car is parked in the driveway, and the lights are on inside. My heart pounds as I clutch the envelope containing the photos. This is it, the moment of truth. I enter the house, trying to keep my emotions in check. The sound of the television drifts from the living room. Julia must be watching her favorite show. I take a deep breath and walk towards the sound. Julia is lounging on the couch, looking relaxed as she flips through channels. She glances up when I enter, her face lighting up with a forced smile. "Hey, you're home early." I don't respond. Instead, I pull the envelope from my bag and drop it on the coffee table in front of her. The photos spill out, scattering across the table. Julia's smile falters as she takes in the images of her and Daniel, captured in moments of intimate conversation. Her eyes widen in shock and guilt. "How did you?" "Cut the crap, Julia," I interrupt. "These are from today. I followed you. I have all the proof I need." Julia's face goes pale. She sits up, her hands trembling. I can explain." "Explain?" I say, my voice rising with anger. "What's there to explain? I see you and Daniel together, laughing and touching each other. This isn't some misunderstanding." She tries to collect her composure, but the tears well up in her eyes. "I'm so sorry. I never meant for it to get this far. I didn't want to hurt you." "Didn't want to hurt me?" I can't help but scoff. "You're having an affair with another man and you think an apology is going to fix this?" Julia stands up, moving towards me. "Please, just hear me out. It was a mistake. Daniel was just someone I connected with. I didn't think it would end up like this." "You think this is a mistake?" I retort. "This is a betrayal. A deliberate choice to deceive me. You lied, and you hurt me." The weight of her guilt seems to crush her. She sinks back onto the couch, burying her face in her hands. "I never wanted to hurt you. I was just unhappy, and it all got out of control." I pace the room, trying to contain the storm of emotions inside me. "Unhappy? So you thought cheating was the answer?" Julia's sobs are muffled but persistent. "I'm sorry. I know it's no excuse. I'll do whatever it takes to make it right." I stop pacing and turn to face her. "There's nothing you can do to make this right. You've crossed a line that can't be undone." Julia looks up, her eyes pleading. "What are you going to do?" "I'm going to make sure everyone knows the truth," I say firmly. "I want people to see what kind of person you really are. You can't just walk away from this and pretend nothing happened." Julia's face turns desperate. "Please, don't do this. I don't want to lose everything. Too late for that, I reply coldly. You've already lost my trust, and now you'll have to face the consequences. I leave Julia sitting there, the photos scattered around her. I feel a twisted sense of satisfaction, but also a gnawing unease. Revenge might bring some closure, but it won't erase the pain. Later that evening, I sit at my computer, drafting an email. I prepare to send the photos to a few close friends and family members. The thought of exposing Julia's affair feels both empowering and unsettling. It's a drastic step, but it's the only way to show the full extent of her betrayal. Before I hit send, I take a deep breath. This is a defining moment. The decision to reveal everything will change the dynamics of our lives forever. I hit the send button and watch as the message disappears into the digital ether. The next few days are a whirlwind of emotions and fallout. Friends and family are shocked by the revelations, and the once pleasant atmosphere of our home is now filled with tension and resentment. Julia tries to reach out, but her calls go unanswered, her texts ignored. I continue to document the aftermath, recording how Julia's betrayal is affecting everyone around us. Her attempts to salvage her reputation fall flat as the truth spreads. The carefully crafted facade she maintained for years is now in tatters. Julia moves out of the house, taking only what she can carry. The silence that follows her departure is deafening. The house feels emptier, the echoes of her absence resonating through every room. The initial satisfaction of revenge is overshadowed by a deep sense of emptiness. The life I knew is gone, and the future is uncertain. As I look around the house, I realize that no amount of retribution will truly heal the wounds caused by betrayal. The road ahead will be long and difficult, but it's a journey I must face alone. The weeks that follow Julia's departure are a blur of anger and resentment. The shock of her betrayal has settled into a cold, simmering rage. The house, now devoid of her presence, feels like a monument to what was lost. Every corner seems to echo with memories of deceit. I've spent these weeks meticulously planning my final act of revenge. I've gathered evidence, talked to people who were once in Julia's circle, and made sure that the damage I intend to inflict will be as profound as her betrayal. I'm done with half measures, this is going to be a reckoning. Julia's affair with Daniel has become public knowledge, and the fallout has been severe. Julia's career has taken a hit, and her social circle has turned cold. I've kept up the pressure, ensuring her public disgrace is thorough and unrelenting. Now it's time to address the final piece of the puzzle, Daniel. I discover where Daniel lives, a luxurious penthouse in the city. It's clear he's living comfortably, insulated from the consequences of his actions. Tonight, that changes. I have a plan to make sure he feels the full weight of his betrayal, just as Julia has. I approach Daniel's building under the cover of darkness, dressed in black to blend into the night. I've made arrangements with a few contacts who owe me favors, ensuring that Daniel's private moments will be interrupted. My goal is to expose him publicly, to show everyone just how far his duplicity reaches. I slip into the building's lobby, bypassing security with a keycard I've managed to acquire. The elevator ride feels interminable, each ding of the elevator making my heart race with anticipation. I reach Daniel's floor and make my way to his apartment. I knock on the door, waiting for a response. Moments later, the door opens slightly, and I see Daniel's face, a look of surprise turning to confusion. Before he can react, I push the door open and step inside. "Who the hell?" Daniel starts, but his words are cut off as I shove him into the living room. "Surprise, Daniel," I say coldly, my voice dripping with venom. "Did you think you'd escape the consequences of your actions?" Daniel's eyes widen in fear. "What are you doing here? You can't just barge in like this." "Oh, but I can," I reply, stepping closer. "You see, I've made sure everyone knows about your affair with Julia. But that's just the beginning." I pull out a tablet, displaying images and documents, proof of Daniel's own shady dealings. I've uncovered more than just your affair. You've been involved in illegal activities, and I have the evidence right here. Daniel's face pales as he realizes the gravity of the situation. You wouldn't dare. I would, I say, my voice steely. And I have no problem sending this evidence to the authorities and making sure you face the full consequences. Daniel stumbles backward, trying to grasp the situation. What do you want from me? Revenge, I answer bluntly. I want to make sure you feel every bit of the pain and humiliation you've caused. With a swift motion, I throw the tablet onto the coffee table. It lands with a crash, scattering papers and files across the room. Daniel's panic grows as he tries to regain his composure. Listen, Daniel pleads, let's talk about this. We can come to some sort of arrangement. I've already made my decision, I say, advancing on him. There's no negotiation here. I turn my attention to the window, opening the curtains to reveal the city skyline. I see the flashing lights of news vans and curious onlookers who've gathered outside, drawn by the commotion. This is the final act, I say, looking at Daniel. Your dirty secrets are about to be exposed. I grab a few of the files from the tablet and head towards the window. I throw them out into the street, where they flutter down like confetti. The crowd below starts to murmur, picking up the scattered documents and piecing together the scandalous information. Daniel's face contorts with fury and desperation. You can't do this. But I just did, I respond coolly. Consider this your public disgrace. I make my exit, leaving Daniel in his penthouse, reeling from the shock and the inevitable fallout. The final act of revenge is complete, and the satisfaction I feel is tinged with a grim sense of finality. I return home, the weight of my actions settling over me. The house, now a symbol of betrayal, feels emptier than ever. I've achieved my goal, but the cost of this revenge has been steep. The destruction of Julia and Daniel's lives has left a trail of wreckage that mirrors the shattered remnants of my own. As I sit alone in the quiet of the house, I realize that vengeance has not brought the closure I hoped for. The bitterness and anger linger, a reminder of the damage caused by betrayal. The path forward is uncertain, but one thing is clear: the lives that were intertwined by deceit are forever altered, and the bitterness of revenge will remain a part of me. Julia and I will never cross paths again. The hatred and betrayal that once bound us are now the very reasons we part forever. The final chapter of this story is not one of redemption or reconciliation but of a relentless pursuit of retribution that leaves only scars in its wake.